Well, Kevin, I'm here for exactly that. On the 12th of July, and just before the season kicked off, I made a little video about Ipswich Town just up there. And I initially titled the video saying, "Can Ipswich challenge for promotion to the Premier League?" And quite honestly, I didn't really believe my title, so I decided to change it to "Why is there so much hype around Ipswich Town?" And since then, with hindsight, and hindsight is a wonderful thing in football, obviously, I should have probably stuck by that title because Ipswich Town, after 40 games in the Championship, as a newly promoted League One side with a set of players who 12th, a lot of these players finished 12th in League One a couple of seasons ago, find themselves top of the Championship, 40 games played, have accumulated 87 points, and look destined to play Premier League football next season. There are a couple of comments on that video to say I should do a follow-up on that video later into the season, and the reason why I've done it with 6 games to go, so we've not got long left, but also after this Easter period, it just felt like such a turning point in the season. Ipswich won another 2 games on Easter Monday and on Good Friday, away at Blackburn on Good Friday and against Southampton on Easter Monday. If you follow the Championship, you'll know all about that game on Easter Monday against Southampton. Just the most dramatic of late winners. But it's not the first time they've done it. They just keep scoring so many late goals, and I'll tell you all about it. And it just felt like another turning point. They found themselves top of the league. Leicester's kind of mini collapse, and Leeds just being really good. But to find themselves top of the league, it's really hard to ignore the fact that Ipswich are just such a good side. And I feel like now I am totally convinced they probably will make the top 2, and that is why I've gone with this video right now. Let's just lay the story, shall we, like I did in that video. Ipswich League One football they played last season. They played in the 3rd tier of English football, and they accumulated 99 points. They finished 2nd with 99 points, which might happen this season, mind you, in the Championship. But the point is, they were utterly brilliant. They finished 2nd to a Plymouth Argyle side who accumulated 101 points under Steven Schumacher, but they had a plus 66 goal difference, Ipswich, and by far the top goal scorers in the division. They accumulated 13 wins from their last 15 games in League One last season, and went into this one with a hell of a lot of momentum, and, well, what it turned out to be a really shrewd summer transfer window as well. I say the recruitment was shrewd because they didn't really add too much. They did not disrupt the core of that side that got themselves promoted from League One. Argyle did it, and they were really good until Steven Schumacher left. And this Ipswich have done a similar thing. The likes of Connor Chaplin, the likes of Leif Davis, the likes of Sam Morsey, Massimo Luongo, George Hurst, he came back on a permanent deal. But the point is, a lot of these players, Nathan Broadhead, Wes Burns, have all been kind of main starters for Ipswich this season, key players, and they haven't been replaced, or they haven't found quality to go and upgrade on them per se, because they have been one of the best teams in the Championship. But the point is, didn't disrupt the players who have come in, the likes of Jack Taylor, who's spent quite a lot of money on. They've always come in, and I know that whenever they have come into the side, whether it's off the bench or from the start in certain games, they've always made an impact, and that ultimately you've got to give Kieran McKenna a lot of credit for that, and Mark Ashton, I say, with gritted teeth, but you've got to give them a lot of credit for that. The recruitment and subsequently the use of those players has been absolutely spot on. That leads us nicely onto Kieran McKenna, doesn't it? Who is the mastermind behind all of this, by the way, if you haven't noticed already. And his use of the squad has just been absolutely magnificent all season. Whenever there's been 3-game weeks, he's rotated it brilliantly. The likes of Nathan Broadhead, Wes Burns typically come out for Mari Hutchinson or Caden Jackson or whoever it is, Jeremy Sarmiento now. But the point is, he's used the squad brilliantly. The rotation options have been brilliant. And a lot of that, and a lot of the reason why players who have come in and just seemingly smoothly transition into the system and Ipswich has still won games quite comfortably, is because of the fact that the system is just so good, and he just drilled it into literally everyone into the squad. That's why Ipswich have done so well and not really tired and not run out of steam, because if you're a newly promoted side and you're on that much momentum, normally if you play the same team over and over again, you'll lose energy, you'll run out of energy, but they just keep going because of the good squad options he's got at his disposal, to be fair, but also how he uses them has just been absolutely spot on so far this season. And in games as well, Kieran McKenna's not afraid to go to the bench. He's not afraid to change games. If Ipswich are in a tight battle, or Ipswich are losing 1-0, 2-1, whatever, he is not afraid to change games. He has got options off the bench, but he will use them early on if things aren't working out on the pitch and if he thinks things aren't going to change. And that a lot of managers aren't capable of, a lot of managers don't see straight away. So on 60, 65, he will make substitutions, triple substitutions. He will make them in order to change games. And normally, it goes and comes off. And because of that, Ipswich score a lot of late goals. And I know this is a can of worms on social media and whatnot, but Ipswich scoring a lot of late goals is not luck in the slightest. Okay, if you do something different once, maybe twice, maybe 3 times, it might be lucky. But once it happens the 4th and the 5th and the 6th and the 7th time, and once you score a third of your goals after the 75th minute, it is not luck. Ipswich just scored 28 goals after the 75th minute, in the 75th minute, or after that. That is a third of their goals. That is a third of their goals have come, I'd say, quite late. That is not normal. That is not normal in the slightest, and I don't think it's luck either. They just wear teams down. If I'm speaking as a Bristol City fan here, when we played them at Portman Road, you could just sense, even after we took the lead through Tommy Conway, you could just sense Ipswich were getting back into the game. And ultimately, that's not a sign of luck. That's a sign of a team that's really well determined, that's really buying into what Kieran McKenna wants, and ultimately that have a lot of self-confidence and will have a lot of belief in what they're doing. And the fact, the way they play, the attacking football they instill is just ridiculous. So teams are not going to be able to cope with that, and the fitness levels they have is just ridiculous as well. So that's why they score a lot of late goals, and that's why they score a lot of late goals against good sides as well. Some of us thought that this style of play that Ipswich are playing in League One last season would probably be a little bit better suited to the Championship, considering that more teams might open up, and considering, at the end of the day, Ipswich are a newly promoted League One side, they might just go for games a little bit more and try and win games and be a little bit more expansive, leaving space for Ipswich and those forward players. And the forward players, I think a lot of us have underestimated the actual quality of them. The likes of Nathan Broadhead, the likes of Connor Chaplin, Kiefer Moore, who signed in on loan in January, Jeremy Sarmiento, who did the same, Wes Burns. There's a lot of attacking quality in those forward positions. And Kiefer Moore, again, signed on loan in January, has already scored 6 goals. Jeremy Sarmiento, who's a winger, has been in and out most games, have cropped up with massive goals as well. Again, the latest one being the home game against Southampton. He's scored 5 goals. Connor Chaplin and Nathan Broadhead have scored 13 goals. Nathan Broadhead has been in and out in the past few months, and he just scored 13 goals. It's mental to me. Wes Burns has scored 5 goals. Amari Hutchinson, again, similar to Broadhead, been in and out all season, really. Hasn't really been a major starter. Honestly, I don't think he's started more than 3 games in a row. He scored 7 goals. It's just absolutely mental. Kieran McKenna's got this system going, and it is, bearing fruit a lot. The guy getting a lot of the media attention, and rightly so, is Leif Davis. The guy from left back has already got 16 assists this season, surpassing his assist tally from last season in League One, supposedly playing in a weaker division. It is just mental. And again, got to give credit to Kieran McKenna, the ability and the system to get Leif Davis bombing up the pitch every single time, playing as a left winger basically, and the constant cutbacks from Leif Davis to the likes of, particularly in Connor Chaplin this season, towards the edge of the box. No one has been able to deal with that in the Championship, and it's just been absolutely insane. And, it seems like such an obvious thing now to say, but again, no one's just been able to stop it. So the big question is, can Ipswich go up from this position they found themselves in? They win 6 games, they're in the Premier League. It's that simple. But it is not that simple. They've got an interesting run of fixtures to come up for the rest of the season. The average league position of the opposition they're going to play is 11.3. Compare that to Leeds and Leicester. Leeds have got 11th, exactly on the nose, and Leicester have got slightly better run of fixtures coming up in terms of league position. Again, the Championship is very, very weird and doesn't really reflect on league position, but 13.4 is their run-in. So on paper, on data in itself, Leicester should probably have a little bit of an easier run-in. But again, it is very, very close. And I'll argue 13.4 to 11, that's literally nothing. So if you can't separate the sides in terms of the whole run-in, let's pick out a couple of standout fixtures from an Ipswich perspective in this run-in then for the next 6 games. Norwich away is the standout one, isn't it? It's an East Anglian derby. It's away from home. Norwich have found themselves in a really good position in the league and are in a really good run of form as well. They've got some star players like Sir Gabriel Sara, Marcian Nunez, Boris Sainz, Ashley Barnes, Josh Sargent in particular, who can hurt Ipswich, who have been leaky all season really compared to the rest of the top 4. I think Bristol City have got a better defensive record than Ipswich on paper. But another one, I'd argue, is Coventry away. And the timing of that fixture of Coventry away is incredibly intriguing. It's because it's right in between game week 44 and game week 45. So there's going to be heightened tension. It's going to be incredibly nervous for Ipswich. And away from home, it's not really ideal either, is it? Coventry's already a tough place to go. And with that extra tension, it's going to be incredibly hard. Coventry themselves will be having something to play for, presumably by that period where they're in a playoff race themselves, and they've got a lot of quality, especially going forward, the likes of Ellis Sims, Hadji Wright, Callum O'Hare, who can hurt Ipswich. So those are two banana skins for the rest of the season, and even Hull away that are going to be tricky for Ipswich to navigate. But this Ipswich side this season, they've always found a way to win. Whether that's late goals, just completely dominating side, tactically taking them apart, they've always found themselves a way to win. And that ultimately is the biggest thing they can take pride from, really. And going into this next 6 games, Hull away, Coventry away, Norwich away. Despite that, all season there's been pressure on Ipswich. The expectation of, they'll fall away somewhat surely. They've never done that. They've always just found a way to win, no matter the opposition. Comparing Ipswich and their recent form to the sides Leicester and Leeds, well, Leeds are just winning games for fun, so there's no real doesn't really look like there are any signs they're going to fall off anytime soon, especially with 6 games to go. But Leicester, they look by far and away the best team in the league. They were 17 points clear, and they went on a bit of a poor run, have been on a poor run for a while, and it looks like they've completely lost all sort of momentum, and got pressure on Enzo Maresca, rightly so, with that squad. And Ipswich, well, for them, there's a lot of similarities between this season and last season in their promotion push. Where Sheffield Wednesday, similar to Leicester this season, looked by far and away the best team in the league, and they went on a really poor run about this time last season, and then Ipswich kind of stole second from there. And well, Plymouth last season, similar to Leeds, I'd say, just kept winning, had momentum, and finished first in the league. And ultimately, I probably think that's how it's going to finish this season as well, where I think Leeds will probably win the league with the fact that they just have so much more quality and are on a ridiculous run of form, and have Daniel Farke as manager. I probably think Ipswich will probably finish second with the momentum they're on right now, and I'd say a decent run in to the back end of the season. And I think Leicester will probably finish third. Let me know your top 3 in the comment section down below. But it just feels like, with the turning point of Southampton and the momentum that Ipswich are on, I just feel like they'll still second. Thank you to everyone who's watched this video. Ipswich Town fans, as you've probably guessed, I am not an Ipswich fan myself. I am a Bristol City fan for my sins. But look, hopefully I've given you an outsider's perspective of what things are looking like at the moment for Ipswich, and just generally a kind of fair, balanced perspective of things going, and hopefully a good follow-up video on the video I made at the start of the season, which you can still watch, by the way, if you want to hear some pretty terrible opinions on where I think Ipswich are going to finish at the end of it. But yeah, thank you very much for tuning in, and hopefully you've enjoyed this one as well. Hit like before you leave, and subscribe to the Annie Harris Football Channel for more predominantly Bristol City content. I'm a City season ticket holder myself, but yeah, predominantly City content, but yeah, I do like to do Championship bits and bobs here and then. So yeah, thank you very much for watching. Keep safe, and I'll catch you all later. Cheers.